Business owners are increasingly being pulled in so many directions, feeling like they aren't reaching their full potential in business and life despite their type A ways. With my background as a therapist, entrepreneur, and as a .com dropout with ADHD, I interview and coach high-achieving business owners like you who want to stop struggling for success by using psychological systems, strategies, and the occasional carefrontation. This is the Easily Distracted Entrepreneur, your place to slay overwhelm, perfectionism, and shiny object syndrome so that you can get done what matters most to you. Hello, hello, my distracted but never deterred friends. I have got a fantastic interview for you today. I got a chance to talk to my good friend, Annie Ruggles, who is somebody who describes herself as a human Muppet, and I think that says it all. She is the founder of the Non-Sleazy Sales Academy and has guided hundreds of people towards making deeper connections, lasting impressions, and friendlier, more lucrative transactions. I mean, what could be better than that? She also has an amazing podcast that I was honored to be on called Too Legitimate to Quit: Instant Actionable Small Business Strategies with a Pop Culture Spin. And if you know me, you know I love my pop culture. I feel like I could have done every single episode, but we bonded over So I Married an Axe Murderer. So you should go check out that episode if you are a super fan like me and you want to hear us mangle Scottish accents. Anyway, before we get into the interview, I also wanted to let you know that in the inner circle, we have added weekly co-working. I have gotten so much positive feedback over the benefits that the co-working aspect of the membership has given people, that for some people, that's in and of itself the benefit. They just love coming. They get a lot done. It helps them get focused and helps them stay on track with everything they need to do. So we are now offering weekly, and it's still at the low, low price of only $49 a month. If you would like to find out more information, head on over to amberholly.com/inner circle to find out more. And now for my conversation with Annie. Welcome, welcome, my friends. Welcome, Annie.
Hello.
I am so excited to be recording this interview. You are my newest BFF, soul sister, whatever you want to call it.
The newest and the best. Everybody else, get out the way.
Yeah. That's so funny. I was singing that song earlier. Get out the way. Get out the way. Because I was being super productive. So that was like my song to let people know it's happening today. People get on board.
Yeah, I normally sing my Y2K jams when I'm being really, really productive.
Oh, love it. Okay, well, now I hope you got a little taste of where this interview is going to go. But other than meeting you last year at a conference, the only thing I have been to in 2 years, 2.5 years. And it was such a thrill to meet you. But for all of those who were not at the conference and were not at our table at lunch, can you tell them, I've already given the official bio, but tell them any other super special magic things they need to know about you and the work you do.
Super special magic things. My secret power is getting people around sales avoidance. So if people feel sleazy, nasty, slimy, jerky, douchey when they put price tags on their products and services, or when they have to push a little bit to close the sale, that's totally understandable. I was the most sales avoidant person alive, but I had to learn how to do things with ethics and integrity and enthusiasm my way. And once I figured that out, I realized that if I could sell, honey, anybody can sell without compromising who they really are.
Yes. And I love that. And I think that's, part of why I really have enjoyed spending time with you, because when you meet somebody who's really authentic and they genuinely are doing that sleazy sales stuff, you just want to be around them. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's, showing up authentically as you are is a big part of that, right?
We
part
get
of the sales
told
process.
that a lot, right? There's this huge premium in both marketing and selling for authenticity. But what happens is all of these wonderful, heart-centered, ooey gooey, gorgeous do-gooder people are out there like showing the world their heart, wearing their values on their sleeve, but there's not enough sales education out there yet. There's still the stigma of sales and all of these nasty practices. So you take a gorgeous, hearted person and you give them a nasty book of sales practices. Of course, they're going to feel inauthentic. So what happens is we magnetize people to us because we're showing up authentically and transparently and, as the loving, ooey gooey, gorgeous sponge of humanity, empath, gorgeous HSPs that we are. And then we go to sell and we feel like we have to shapeshift into this other thing. And what happens is our prospects get whiplash. We're like, whoa. Who is this person? Because I've been falling in work love with this brain. Now this brain is suddenly suddenly talking like Grant Cardone. How did that happen? No offense to Grant Cardone, but if his voice came out of my mouth, people would be very confused.
Oh, that's funny. Well, or the other thing I see too is, and I am guilty of, is we just don't ask for the sale, right? So that ends up being the other part. We either, you feel like you have to shapeshift or you shut down. So,
or you just totally, have a little like frontal lobe fit and go to your dark place and go back to bed. And what that actually looks like on a call for a lot of us, because a lot of us are offering free consultations or discovery calls or anything like that, is we say that the call is 20, 30, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour. And then 3.5 hours later, the person on the other end of the phone is crying about how we changed their life and we're being so amazing and generous with them. And they can't imagine their life yesterday continuing without us in it. And we love it. And we just go, oh, I'm so glad you got a lot out of this. Please feel free to go to my website. And then we hang up.
Exactly. Right. Not asking.
Yeah.
Well, you are going to be giving in my membership an awesome training next month that's going to talk all about the different buyer types so that people can make sure that they're addressing the concerns or preferences of every buyer type, both in their copy and in how they talk to people.
Yep.
So that is there for the extra special, for people who are wanting to join the membership. This would be a great time because then you could be with Annie live and Q&A. But in the interim, what we wanted to talk about is, as we are all easily distracted entrepreneurs in this go world, how we wanted to talk about marketing in a way that loses the fluff, right?
Yeah.
So that we're not wasting time on things that actually don't move the needle just because we're told this is something we have to do. And then we end up feeling like we're, on the treadmill. So that is what we are talking about today, folks.
So full disclosure, I'm not a social media person. I love me some Instagram. I surprisingly love LinkedIn lately, which makes me feel like I'm about 17,000 years old. But, I'm not coming at this topic as a social media strategist or as a social media denier. I'm not trying to knock those things, but we are in a more performative content space than ever before with the, prevalence of stuff like TikTok. So now everybody is shaking their butt and pointing at things in the sky that aren't there. Or, we're all dancing to the same routines and trying to use the same sound effects. And that all is really great. But I worry that long term, that essence of the problems you solve and why you are the perfect person to uniquely solve them is going to get lost under performative fluff. And so what I want to make sure that we're doing is, yes, have fun in your marketing. Show up authentically in your marketing. If you want to shake your butt and point at stuff in the sky, feel free. But overall, people are looking to have problems solved. People want their minds changed. People want their roads paved. People want their bellies or their brains fed. That's what they want. They want change, even on a micro level. If I sell cupcakes, I was hungry. Now I'm not hungry. Thanks for the cupcake. Problem solved. Right? So when we're doing all of this marketing, if we rely too much on shiny and not enough on delivery, right? In getting people to the point of mindset where they feel like change is possible, or providing those micro wins, actually moving the needle for and with them, we are going to get swept away in a tide of everybody else's TikTok.
Right. I was like, that's a lot. My mind was going like 15 different places while you were talking.
Yep. That's the ADHD for you, baby.
I know. I was like, oh, so good. And yes, please hear that she's not saying you can't do those things, because, you know, it is fun. It is something that people are like exploring. Like, I see it sometimes as I'm noticing, as some people are getting into either TikToks or Reels or whatever it is, that they're having fun with it and it's helping them loosen up and get into their creativity. So I think there's value in that. Like, because I think that's about being authentically you, right? Like, even I've said to you, you know, offline before, like, I do not know why I haven't been doing TikToks. I freaking love dancing. Like,
you're also hilarious. So TikTok was in essence born for you. Like,
and yet I'm not on it really. I did actually create one TikTok. I did. Oh,
because
no, two.
For you and for many of us, it requires a large energetic output that is, for us, at least at this point, prioritized in other ways. My cuckoo crazy balls energy that I have left over from my cuckoo crazy balls group calls and my cuckoo crazy balls job, I save for my podcast and podcasts like these. I use my extroversion to podcast. I'm actually a very loud introvert, right? So for me, if I was going to do stuff like this, which is more important to me, and then turn around and have to do a TikTok video, that's going to be harder. But to your previous point, there are also so many people that have found a home there, that feel liberated there. I was just talking earlier today to my dear friend Melody Johnson, the course consultant, and I told her, I'm like, you have been killing it with these Reels and TikTok videos lately. You are killing it. And she said, you know, I'm really having fun doing them and I'm feeling unblocked doing them. And I was like, well, good, that's perfect. But the reason I'm drawn to her videos more than other videos is she's doing the dancing, she's doing the pointing, but she's also teaching me really great content on a micro level day to day, which is so enjoyable, right? Her whole world is courses. So she's going, hey, don't forget to put this in your FAQ. That's a video I want/need to be watching. It makes me laugh, but it also makes me think. That's a perfect example of what I was talking about, solving a problem that I didn't even know I had while I'm being entertained.
Yes. That is a great distinction. And so, as we talk about this, please hear, we are not poo-pooing anything. We are just saying, be mindful of your energy. And I think you make a great point. What I realized was like, why am I not on this? Like, I might be the only person on LinkedIn who, under my skills, one of them is dance party starter. I'm pretty sure most people in LinkedIn
and I've seen it in person. So if anyone has ever had a doubt, is Amber qualified and an experienced dance party starter, I would have to put my reputation on the line here and say 100%, yes, I endorse Amber's dance party skills.
Yes. Okay. So everyone else, feel free to go to LinkedIn and endorse me for that skill as well. But that's where, and frankly, now I feel like we must tell everyone that is actually how we met, was on a dance floor.
Well,
I was dancing.
It's actually how we almost met on a dance floor.
True.
Because our dear friend Diane Wingert, mutual love of us both, attempted to introduce me to Amber. But as previously discussed, Amber was mid dance party. And so when approached, Amber said very famously,
can't talk dancing.
Can't talk dancing. Yep. And in that moment, I was like, whoever this is, She will be mine. Eventually, she will be mine because, like what you were talking about, when someone is showing up in their lane, in their zone, and in their authenticity, it's really, really easy for polarizing behavior to occur. It just so happens that the person you said can't talk dancing to was me. And so I was like, yes, please come into my life. I am willing and patient. Like, yes. Right? But
exactly.
Justice Ainsley, we talked about this. You were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. When I told you about it later, you're like, that must have come off as so rude. And I'm like, not to me, it didn't. Right? Because to me, it seemed like attracting like. So when you're out there living it, shaking your butt, having an amberific time, it's easier for people to find you.
Yes. And to your point, so in that to me is my energy zone. But you were right that like capturing that in a TikTok is a very different energetic load altogether. Like that's what I realized is I was talking to somebody who was saying like, oh, okay, so you should do something for like these different holidays. And they mentioned, what was it? Earth hour, or what is that called? There's like an hour, something like it had to do with Earth Day, but it was like Earth hour where like we don't use power or something. And authentically, I just off the cuff went on like a little tirade. I said, we're like, sorry, Earth, you used to get a whole day. Now you get an hour. And I was like, what's with this Earth hour? I was like, like that's how much we don't care about you. That's how fast things are moving. You get an hour now. We don't have time to give you an whole day. And went off, did the whole thing. They were laughing, hilarious. And they're like, you should record that. And of course I didn't, because I was like, no, when I can do it in the moment authentically, it's one thing. But if I had to sit down and do that, I would feel so uncomfortable, which is why I am pushing myself to do them, because it is about, for me, I'm looking at it as like you're saying, the pushing my comfort zone to just get more comfortable expressing myself as my authentic self as much as possible.
Yeah.
But I am never going to be like, this is my main avenue to revenue success.
No, but
I will always know it comes after.
Like trust is important. It's just incomplete, right? Yeah. So it's not that I'm saying get out there, be seen, be loved, and be lovable, blow minds, make days. I'm not saying not to do any of that. Do all of that. But once you have someone in your beautiful and benevolent grasp and they tell you or they give you permission to sell to them, by all means, please freaking do that. Please.
I love it. Well, and this is where I think you and I are in so much alignment, because a lot of what I talk to people about, especially in my coaching or working individually with people, is about sustainability. And I'm like, we have to look at our energy flow, even, and that changes throughout the day. It changes throughout the week. It can change throughout the month. It really, even seasonally, I think our energy, waxes and wanes, right?
Yeah.
And so I think we have to look at that and we have to figure out sustainably, why am I doing it? So if I'm choosing to do something like this for fun and to push my comfort zone and to kind of make myself grow a little bit, but I don't feel the pressure to be like, I have to do this in order for my business to succeed, then it's okay. But if I felt like I have to do all the things, and then it's like that scatter shot, I've literally heard somebody before. I couldn't believe they said this, but it was somebody who says they're like a social media marketing expert. And they said, oh yeah, I often advise people it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall and then you see what sticks. And I'm like, literally, that's an example that most people say the opposite of.
Literally, that is spray and pray marketing.
Yes.
And here's the thing about spray and pray. Okay. Yes. Marketing, all forms of marketing, social, copywriting, outbound, advertising even, every single thing that you're doing to increase brand awareness is in and of itself an experiment, right? And so there's a lot of experimentation that goes into perfecting these things.
Yes.
But you still have to do that in a controlled way. This is grade school math, or science. If you change too many variables, we can't identify what's working, right? And so as much as I appreciate the gumption of throw it at the wall and see what sticks, if you're independently wealthy and are sitting on a giant Scrooge McDuck pool of time, then sure, by all means, get out there and spray and pray. But most of us do not have the time other than exploring, well, what would happen if I introduced this kind of content? Or what would happen if I did more video? That's about as experimental as we can get within our current confines of energy and giving a shitness, right? Because we are so very much divided in all these other ways. But that spray and pray mentality of like, chuck it to the wall and see what sticks is actually pretty dangerous for people with ADHD or people like me. I have OCD, in that if you tell me to throw something at the wall and see what sticks, can you imagine the rabbit hole that comes out of the ground in front of me when you give me that distraction permission slip? I will wind up planning entire strategies on platforms that I currently don't even know exist because I'm supposed to be figuring out what works. And in order to figure out what works, I literally have to plan for everything. And then I can use that as an opportunity to procrastinate.
Yes.
Or I can use it as an opportunity to be perfectionistic. I can use that as an opportunity not to cross finish lines. I can use that as an opportunity not to start starting lines, right? I can do all these different things in the name of trying all the things. But instead of trying all the things, what if you took that energy, did the social posts and the things that light you up, did the marketing that feel good and hit your people where they live so that they can find you? And then instead of trying all the methods of marketing, try all the methods of asking.
Ooh. That was good. I like that. You know, as you were now I feel, you say something profound like that, and I feel like I can't follow up with it. So I want to go into the different forms of asking, but first I want to just make a point because I think it was really important. There is a difference, because I will talk to people a lot about experimenting. Like this is an experiment, I'm trying. And I think when you're experimenting, to me, there's still a thoughtfulness to it. Like you're still strategically choosing something for a particular reason, as opposed to spray and pray, which is you're supposed to do this stuff. So you have to do all these things, even if they don't feel incongruent with your audience or congruent with your personality or congruent with, things you enjoy. I think it's very different. So there's a difference between feeling like you have to do all the things and thoughtfully choosing to experiment. And like you said, the key in experimentation is you're choosing one thing. And I think you have to stick with it for a little while, because that's the other thing is like people, right? They put in a little bit of time and I'll say, and it literally will be like weeks later, because this is how our brains work, right? Like we can be we forget like, oh, it's only been 2.5 weeks and we think it should all be working. And sometimes, you have to give it more time. Like people who are on podcasting, they get told a lot, like this is the long game. And it's true. Like you build audience over time and you have to slowly build, but it's like, you have to give things time. But humans are kind of notorious for this, where it's like, oh yeah, I've been doing that, but now, and I'm like, it's been 2.5 weeks. You need to calm down, So it's experimenting.
Well, because we don't know what happened during that 2.5 weeks, Amber. Like we have no clue what is happening behind the scenes in your business. We also don't know what's happening in the world that this marketing or selling is going out in. And that does affect, right? Like we cannot say it is 2022. We cannot say that the pandemic didn't change our marketing. I mean, I was supposed to have a major launch the day that Russia invaded Ukraine.
Yes.
I had to ask myself questions. I woke up, it was already happening because of time zones. I had all my scheduled stuff good to go ready to go. I had a live stream scheduled and I had to ask myself, does it feel appropriate for me to show up this way in this way today? And I said, no. My choice was no. There have been other times and other disasters and other sadnesses where I've thought, you know what, push through. You got to. But on this particular day, I went no. And saying no for me was an experiment. What would it feel like to have all of these plans and to cancel them? What would it feel like to have to send an email to my list being like, hey, today's live training is canceled because I'm scared and I want to go back to bed. And I hope wherever you are, you're okay, because this is a lot. I didn't know what that was going to feel like. I didn't know if I was going to have a mass rush of unsubscribes, but in that moment, the world dictated what I could do, right?
Yeah.
So part of our experiment and part of why we have to take things one variable at a time is because none of us are marketing in a bubble.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yes. And we have to give things more time than we want to, because I'm that person too, who will hit refresh to see like how many signups have I gotten for an event or something like that. Cause I get excited. Right. And then you just have to keep pushing through. But I want to go back to, cause you said the important thing of, why don't we try asking in all the different ways there are to ask? So I want you to expand on that.
Okay, here's the thing. All the different ways to ask is there's both mindset parts of that and strategic parts of that. The strategic parts of that, those are the easy ones. See what it would feel like to put a pour your heart out social post and then say at the end, hey, I'd really love to talk about this up close and intimate. Get on a discovery call with me. That's an ask. Right? Or another ask is, hey, Amber, you and I are so totally aligned and we both have podcasts. What would you feel about doing a swap? That's an ask, right? So there are different strategic kinds of asks. You could ask for partnerships. You could ask for referrals. You could ask for testimonials. You could ask for just straight up introductions that aren't even referrals, right? You could ask someone to do a favor exchange. You could ask someone to share something. You could do all of these different asks a bajillion different ways, but you cannot do that until you are willing to find your own sales voice. And your own sales voice is something that you already have. It is not something you put on. It is not something you invent. It is something you polish and hone. So you, for example, are a mother and a military wife. What parts of being a mother, what parts of being a military wife could inform your asking tone? Right? Mothers, parents, regardless of gender, have to convince their kids to do a whole lot of stuff that the kids don't want to do, that the parents know they have to do. Clients can be a lot like children. They tell you what they want, and then you give them a solution, and they don't really want to hear it, but you know that the broccoli needs to go down the throat hole, right? So you can try asking in a maternal way, if that's a role that you play in your life. Whatever that tone is, what would it feel like to ask it in a maternal, paternal way? Or, you know, military families are constantly dealing with change and fear. How can you handle pain points like a military family? Right? How can you say, listen, I know what I'm asking you to do is going to require a lot of you, but here's why I think you can hack it. And here's the support that you're going to have along the way, right? These are roles that you're already playing. You as therapist, you are boundaried AF. How can you show intimacy and boundaries simultaneously? That's critical in sales. You do that with every single session you have. Are you bringing that warmth, but that separation to your sales stuff? I am a musical theater frickin' Muppet. How can I bring my natural enthusiasm to asking? Right? It's roles that we already play. It's the hats that we wear voluntarily and that we excel at naturally. There are elements of asking in those things that you can bring to relationship-based selling very easily just by saying, how would insert your name here, the insert your role here, ask in this scenario? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. I like that. Although initially when you were talking about the mom thing, I was like, so I should bribe and yell at my clients? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes. You should ground your clients. You should demean your clients, and you should take away their social media. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. No, we jest, but
right. Humongous portion of people with sales avoidance are in some kind of caring profession. Because the boundaries are ooey gooey and we want to give. We have trouble with receiving because we don't know what's appropriate, or we are naturally overgivers or over deliverers, or, big empath sponges, or whatever it may be. Right. And so a lot of people go, I just want to give and give and give and give and give and give. And therefore it's weird to ask. But people come to me and they're like, I can't sell. I'm a nurse. I can't sell. I'm a teacher. I can't sell. I'm a therapist. I can't sell. I'm a parent. And I was like, yeah, no, you sell all day long. You can't sell like a Wall Street trader, but you can certainly sell like the heart that you already have.
Yes. I think that's a really good point because, like when you talk about like money archetypes, there's one called the nurturer. And like, I think all of those helping professionals, most helping professionals, I should say, fall into that category. And it's that over delivering, over serving, taking care of others, and asking is really hard to do, even if it isn't, like you said, it's not in some kind of smarmy way. It's not, you're not working for Axe Cap. I don't know. I watch Billions. I'm super into that show. Weirdly, I watch Billions to become a better business owner. And my husband's like, they're all corrupt. I was like, I know. Like, my goal isn't to be like them. My goal is like, they are dogged for their goals. I
watch prison shows for the hustle. I'm like, I admire that.
Exactly. I was like, I know I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who loves to watch, people, even if they're doing duplicitous things.
I have an entire pop culture small business podcast because I very much believe that inspiration is everywhere. I don't just mean positive inspiration, y'all. You can find the bad stuff out there too.
I know. It's so entertaining. But yeah, I think that's a great distinction. And so hopefully if you're listening to this and you identify this, as I know so many people who are listening are, most of the people listening are service providers, and a lot fall into that category of they just want to overgive. They want to, do good work. And I know they want to be compensated for it as well. But that's the piece. It's like, you can put yourself out there as much as possible. And, yes, you can get sales, but sustainable, predictable sales come from getting comfortable about putting out the ask,
it's an energy management aspect, right? Like, here we are on the easily distracted entrepreneur. People that are listening to this show know that they have this beautiful bank account of something called attention. And attached to that bank account is an interest called energy. And when that is gone, that is gone. But what we're saying is that all of this over marketing, all this shiny stuff, all this excessive non-experimentation, but just attempting, right? All of this doing is depleting that bank account of time and attention and energy that we already are white knuckle grabbed onto because we know it's challenging for us. What I'm asking listeners today to do is use that precious, precious energy to ask to connect with the client on a deeper level than to keep spinning your wheels in content creation. Ask to go deeper. It's an easier, more efficient use of that precious brilliance that we are all trying to hoard.
I love that. If you were going to give like one last piece of advice, either around discerning, is this going down a shiny marketing rabbit hole, or is this a good utilization of my efforts to like get myself known? Because obviously that's what marketing it is. It's like letting people know the problems that you solve, what you do, and, getting it out there. What do you have any advice for people in that place?
You already said it right then. Solve a problem. If you're shaking your butt, do my prospects need to have a day brightened? Is today a rough day? Does it seem like the energy is a little bit off today? Would me shaking my butt open the door for other people to feel comfortable and confident and safe? Those are all problems that you're solving. In that aspect, then get out there and twerk, babe. Do it. But at the same point, if you're like, am I just doing this because I feel like I should twerk today and it's going to be sort of fun and maybe my clients will like it? That's not actually solving a problem. I would rather see a, air quotes, boring TikTok where you share something that shows us who you are, or a air quotes, stuffy educational TikTok where you actually teach me something, if I feel like I understand the motivation underneath the thing. So if you feel like you're getting out there and getting into that spray and pray behavior, just stop and go, what the heck problem am I solving here for me and for them? Ideally, the content you create, the presence that you build around yourself, the community that you gather to yourself should be a win-win. It should fulfill something for you, even if it's just enjoyment, but it should also deliver something for them. Otherwise, it's just noise.
Well, I'm going to leave it right there because I think that was perfectly said. And obviously, if you would like to hear more of Annie's profound insights, and like we said, she's going to go through the different buyer types training in the membership, in the Inner Circle membership, then you should head on over to amberholly.com/inner circle and join right away, because she is giving her training on May 13th, Friday the 13th. It shall be a good day. Awesome. And if people would like to connect with you, either before that or in addition to that, where should they go?
I love to connect with people as quickly as possible. So if you're a bit of a wallflower, understand I am too. Like I already said, I'm an introvert, but I would really love to connect with you on a platform with messaging. You are welcome to go to my website, which is anniepruggles.com. But if you are having active sales avoidance right now, do not even think about it. Just go hit me up on Instagram, where I'm at Anniepreneur, or on LinkedIn, where I'm at Annie P. Ruggles. And you could also join a community with me and Amber in it called The Legitimati. And I would love to welcome you in.
Yes, we did bond over pop culture. That is one of the favorite things. But The Legitimati is legitimate. So head on over there. And thank you for coming on today. And I'm pretty sure we'll have to have you back.
Thank you for the privilege. I would I got so excited about the prospect of coming back, I forgot how to talk.
I know. I was like, I've lost my mind.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You are welcome, darling, and you shall come back over and over and over.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
It has been a pleasure to interview you, and I shall have you go with gusto.
Ba-ba-da! That was me going with gusto.
And scene.